Okay. Well, before we start our meeting, I had a few comments.
I did. So before we formally start, you ready? Microphones? Okay, I'm on. So before we formally start, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge two of our trustees, honored colleagues, friends, that this is their last meeting.
Is it really? I thought we had one more.
It's that, and just from as a
I'm all depressed.
we haven't had the chance to work that long together, but in the brief time that we've been able to work together, I've been really impressed by your commitment to not just the institution, but to your service areas and to education in general. So really, as you know, president, superintendent, as a colleague, as a friend, want to extend my heartfelt thanks on behalf of the college and the community for your service. Thank you. A small token of our appreciation, with more to come, would just be a couple of things. We'll start with some flowers. And you're welcome. And it wouldn't be Napa if we did not have some wine here. Yes. A couple of bottles of Napa Valley College's finest.
What?
Wow. That's criminal.
Right. Thank you so much.
That's criminal. Yes. Thank you.
Oh,
And we have something special with you as well in the month of January because of your long years of service, not just on this board, but of course. This is a small token.
Thank you.
Appreciation.
Let's get a picture.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Hopefully my wife isn't watching, so I can give these to her.
we won't tell.
I don't think she's watching. For you, darling.
Where do you want us?
Yeah.
And Raphael. And Raphael. We're not even here. We have to get all.
Careful, watch those thorns.
Because the wind's so much.
January. I'm not gonna
So we're gonna do with that in the back.
Yeah. Understood.
We went to stand over there like, no, get out of there. Eddie? Perfect. Thank you.
No.
Had one, but. So nice. Thank you.
Nice, solemn.
No, it's all good.
I mean,
I can't get online. What the heck?
well, with that, we'll call the meeting to order at 4:39 p.m. We welcome members of the public. Instructions on making public comment are posted on item 1 of the agenda, and we'll ask at each item if there is any public comment at that time. Catherine, will you please do roll call?
Yes, student trustee Jorge Alejandro Martinez is not here.
Excused with class.
Yeah. Rafael Rios.
Is running late. I just got a text message, but he is on his way. And so is Trustee DeLuna.
Okay, thank you. Then trustee Baldini.
Here.
Trustee Goff.
Here.
Trustee Baker.
Here.
Trustee Iverson
Here.
and Trustee Dodd.
Here.
Thank you.
Trustee Goff, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I never ask anybody to do it. Well, actually, you guys both need to do it together.
What if you could do the one for California, right? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
We'll move on to adopting the agenda. Item 2.3. Are there any changes? Going once, going twice, seeing none, we will adopt the agenda as presented by consensus and move on to public comment on closed session items, where the board will devote up to 15 minutes to hear comments regarding such items. Catherine, do we have any public comment?
No, we do not.
Okay. At this time, the board will move into closed session covering items 4.1, conference with labor negotiators, 4.2, public employment matter, 4.3, public employment matter, 4.4, public employee performance evaluation, and we shall return approximately at 5:30 p.m. Session at approximately 5:39 p.m. We have one item to announce. The Board of Trustees approved the following appointment to a temporary at-will educational administrative assignment, which is Melissa Datu as Director of Student Health Services from December 6, 2022 through June 30, 2023. This is a 75% of full-time assignment limited to 11 months per fiscal year. The director's salary will be based on admin confidential salary schedule range 17 step C and will be prorated based on FTE and 11-month status. We will now move on to public comment. Public comment is an opportunity governed by the Brown Act that allows the board to hear concerns, perspectives, and differing vantage points. The board is not able under the Brown Act to engage in any level of conversation or discussion, but we look forward to this opportunity to gather community input. We will devote up to 15 minutes to take public comment regarding any subject matter not appearing as an agenda item, but which the board has jurisdiction. Each comment will be limited to 3 minutes. And I see our first public comment, Trustee Emeritus Bruce Ketron.
Yes, thank you, President Dodd. And I noticed the well-deserved flowers in front of Trustee Goff in recognition of her service here. I want you to know how honored it's been to meet you, and I feel so respectful and high regard for your service. And with that said, I would also like to acknowledge my dear colleague, Michael Baldini, who is completing 20 years of service. When Michael and I we ran for election together in 2002 when the bond issue was on the ballot. And at the time we joined the board, her name just went out of my brain. Margaret Lee had been on the board for 22 years. So the institutional memory that we have goes back to 1980. And it's with that regard that so many things have happened. It's hard to focus in, but I do want to point out that it is hard sometimes to recognize someone who has made such a huge contribution. Many of the things of what didn't happen. Michael was board president when we had a difficult time with a board president who was with us a very short period of time. She had been with us for about a year when things turned very adverse. And Michael became the board president in January. And very soon after, had been a report that had come out from the board, a Saturday meeting, and people very vocal. And Michael was in that sensitive position of guiding that transition. And as she went to Michael, and Michael helped her realize certain things, but first that became public knowledge was when it was announced that she was interviewing for positions as college president elsewhere. And then there was an announcement that she had been hired in Virginia as a college president, but nothing was told to the board about her leaving. Michael guided us with a steady hand, a wonderful heart, and intelligence so that nothing was done wrong. And finally, on something like, I believe it was May 29th or 30th, she actually gave Michael the letter of resignation that she was going to leave July 15th. The next day, we brought in Armin Phillips as our interim president, and we avoided all problems. And I come tonight with a heavy heart because Armin Phillips, who is a neighbor of mine, his wife, who has been very ill, she was ill at the time. Armin may have become our college president at that time when she left, when the former president left. But his wife was ill then. She succumbed to and passed on Saturday. I have brought with me a blank condolence card, which you may wish to use, and people signing in acknowledgement that Armin Phillips bailed out this college once when Chris McCarthy died suddenly, probably from pulmonary emboli, which is the most common reason people fall over without any prior known condition. And he came in and brought stability to this college then, ended the terror of the peacocks, and was able to bring people together in a wonderful way. Armin's heart, he was a vice president for instruction over at Solano College, but Armin is now grieving. I would like to leave perhaps this card, maybe we'll do another one. And if the board perhaps might consider, and someone might remind at the end of the meeting to end the meeting in memory of Winnie Phillips, with notice of that to Armin that might be included with the card. But I ask you to recognize Armin Phillips' grief at this time. And Michael, I don't mean to take away from this, but there's another time I think they're going to honor you. I hope you join me as trustee emeritus. And I understand you might even join me on the foundation board because there's so many things to do. I had the honor of seeing our president this morning at Rotary. So I'm starting the day and ending the day with this. And I'm looking forward to so many good things, because those of us who love the college so much, who know the opportunities, and Michael does, Michael's heart has been here, and so many things have happened that have not gone bad because of Michael's tremendous skills, his executive abilities, and his absolutely wonderful demeanor. And so, Beth, you're honored as well. Thank you. And thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Trustee Ketron. Do we have any other public comment?
No, we do not.
Okay. We will move to an action item 7.1, water transmission main relocation project improvement agreement. This is a public hearing, so I will open the public hearing, and I will have Dr. Powell.
Mr. Reeves.
Thank you, Trustee Dodd. In 1951, or any of us were here, maybe Michael was here. In 1951, the college granted to the county of Napa an easement for a water line across the front of the highway here. As part of the residential program, we need to improve a stretch of that water line and tap into it for the housing project, and therefore requires an easement, a slight expansion of an existing easement for that water line. It remains, it is a minor change to the easement, but the legal description will necessarily change. The cost associated with both the water line and the cost of the easement will be borne by the housing project.
Thank you, Mr. Reeves. As it's a public hearing, we are obligated to take public comment on this item, especially. Catherine, do we have any public comment?
No, we do not.
Okay, then we will close public comment, and I will move.
So
Any
moved.
questions for the board? And none. I'll put the motion. Thank you, Trustee Baldini, for your motion, and thank you, Trustee Iverson, for your second. Any discussion? Seeing none. Do we have to take a roll call vote on this, Catherine? Do you know? No, I think so. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The board adopts the relocation agreement unanimously. We will move to action item 8.1, approval of the consent calendar. Are there any changes to consent? Seeing none, I would welcome a motion to approve the consent.
Move approval.
Thank you, Trustee Rios.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Baker, for your second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We'll adopt consent unanimously as well. And moving to general information discussion items, information item 9.1 regarding Native American Heritage Month. Just want to be clear that the Board of Trustees affirms and recognizes November as Native American Heritage Month. Last year, the board adopted a resolution encouraging the recognition and celebration of Native American Heritage Month and encouraging all students, staff, faculty, and members of the public to honor the sacrifices and contributions that have been made to our community and to value the roles and transformative contributions of Native Americans to our economy, culture, and identity. Catherine, do we have any public comment on this item?
No, we do not.
Okay. Then we will move to item 9.2, a core indicators report.
Dr. Warren.
Good evening, board members. I'm here to present the 2021-2022 core indicators report to you. The core indicators report is one of the ways that we regularly monitor our institutional performance. And in the case of the core indicators report, we compare our performance against the institution set standards we established as required for accreditation. So this report is also directly associated with one of the accreditation standards pertaining to the governing board, and that is accreditation standard 4C8, which states, to ensure the institution is accomplishing its goals for student success, the governing board regularly reviews key indicators of student learning and achievement and institutional plans for improving academic quality. The purpose of the institution set standards is to define academic quality for Napa Valley College locally by identifying base level performance, or the floor, if you will. And if we ever dip below that level, it should trigger an institutional response. As outlined in the core indicators report, we have defined institution set standards for 5 metrics, and those metrics are the successful course completion rate, fall to fall persistence rate, the number of degree recipients, the number of certificate recipients, and transfers to UC and CSU institutions. A unique aspect of the core indicators report is that it is 1 page. It reports our actual performance levels from 2021-2022 alongside the institution set standards. Last year, NVC exceeded the institution set standards for successful course completion, along with the number of degree and certificate recipients. That is conveyed via the check marks at the bottom of the 2 relevant columns for successful course completion and program completion. When MVC revisited the institution set standards and established stretch goals in 2019, we identified the trigger for additional planning to close any gaps in performance relative to the standards. And at that time, the Board of Trustees approved 95% of each institution set standard as that threshold for each metric. The 2021-2022 persistence rate is very close to the established standard. The actual performance last year doesn't differ from the standard in a substantively significant way, as 49.9% rounds up to the 50% standard, and 49.9% exceeds 95% of the established standard, which in this case would be 47.5%. For transfers, NVC dipped below the 95% of the established standard last year. And this is the first time we've dipped below 95% of any of our institution set standards. The established standard for transfer is 300, and 285 represents 95% of that standard. Per the ACCJC, what they call substandard performance should trigger an institutional planning process to close the achievement gap. And in 2020-2021, so the year before last, we claimed 290 transfers to UCs and CSUs, and the 21-22 figure continues the trend of decrease, which is likely associated with fewer transfers among students who prefer an in-person or a guaranteed in-person experience at a 4-year transfer institution. So this report has been presented to the Planning and Budget Committee, and it's anticipated that our recent transfer performance will factor into the institutional planning processes we have scheduled for this year, including the development of a new institutional strategic plan. In closing, I want to highlight a couple of what I would call bright lights and some of the drill down details included in this report. So first is the persistence rate of 70% among first-time students. So you can see that in the kind of second smaller table within the second column. Thank you, Catherine, where the cursor is. So the persistence rate of 70% among first-time students, and this a persistence rate of 70% was achieved in the past in 2019, 2020, as well as last year. In the other three most recent years, persistence among first-time students ranged from 58 to 67%. So 70% is an all-time high. Possible contributing factors to this indicator might include the college promise and the growth of our dual enrollment program. And for comparison, the persistence rate among continuing students, which is also in that part of the document, the persistence rate among continuing students has ranged between 50 and 54% over the past 6 years. The second bright light is the average time to completion, and that is in the bottom part. Underneath the green columns for degree and the third column, the degree and certificate recipients. So the average time to completion was incorporated into the core indicators report 3 years ago. And since that time, the average time to degree and the average time to certificate have decreased steadily. So from more than 5 years to then a range of 4 to 5 years. And now this is the first time that both of those are below 4 years. So again, those are the two bright lights that I would highlight for you. As I mentioned, the core indicators report has been shared with the Planning and Budget Committee. And next week, I will distribute it among the campus community via email, and I will post it on the RIPI website. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Sorry. I was just, what's the state average on the completion for degrees?
I don't have the state average at hand right now, but as required by the ACCJC, every campus sets their own institution set standards that are appropriate for their student population and their size.
Trustee Rios?
Yes, thank you. On the transfers, I mean, we set the 300 as our standard, right? But as enrollments have dropped, do we go back and look at that and revise it?
Well, it's been just a couple of years since we revisited the standard, so I would encourage giving it a little more time. I do think that the pandemic has certainly impacted our numbers, and that's also I read an article I think last week about how transfers to UCs and CSUs, that those students, there are fewer of them, and they are taking longer than 2 additional years at the transfer institution to complete their degree requirements. So I think that this is likely part of a national trend. Again, folks waiting for the in-person experience. So, but we did. So when we set the institution set standard for transfer, we did focus on the number of transfers, not as a proportion of our student population. That's something that we did consider at the time, but went with the straight number of transfers.
Thank you.
Trustee Baker?
Yeah, I had 2 questions, but Raphael stole one of them. So my other question is, math is not my strong suit, but on the fall to fall persistence, when you've got it broken down first time versus continuing, both of those numbers are above 50. So is there another category that's pulling that down, the total number down below 50?
Yeah, so there are, I think, 3 other categories. So there's first time transfer students. There are also returning students. There also are dual enrollment, special admit students. So we've just always included the drill down here, but I could expand it in the the
I just, math again, not my thing, but.
Yep, but it sounds like it might be.
Average to 49.
It sounds like it might be your thing. More than you realize.
I had one last curiosity on if there's any numbers or data out there with student housing and what that does to some of these numbers.
So yes, there our data on that available, but I don't have it at hand right now. I think particularly in terms of retention and persistence. So the retention is, retaining students during the course of an academic term so that they don't withdraw. And so that's certainly when you are on campus and have access to the resources and can maximize your time studying rather than, commuting as an example. And then certainly then persistence is the term to term persistence and continuing to pursue your educational and job training goals.
I had two questions. Thank you, Dr. Warnell. In terms of fall to fall persistence, are we, in terms of those overall numbers, are we removing students that, effectively met their goals? They transferred to a four-year institution, they removed certificates, so they're not included in it would be counted against us, I guess.
So that's part of the non-successes, right? Is that they might be, if they transferred, they might be continuing their educational pursuits elsewhere, but if they're not here, then they don't count in persistence.
It just is what it is. Okay.
So, but we don't remove them.
Okay. And what do you, in future years, I always love seeing these to maybe look, and you do have some in some of the footnote boxes, but to actually look at a year to year, comparison, I don't know, like at least a 1 year look back. I mean, 2 year look back would be, Trustee Baker's asking for 5 years, but beggars can't be choosers.
So a couple things on that. So one, all of the past reports are posted on the RIPI site, and this exact request came up last year. And so we did incorporate that into a subsequent board report. So that should be somewhere in board docs.
I didn't see that.
And I can work with Dr. Powell to get you the trends.
Cool.
That's the wish of the board.
Thank you. Any other questions? Thank you so much, Dr. Warnell. The item 10.1, consideration to enter into an employment agreement. Prior to considering this matter as required by Government Code Section 54953, subsection C3, I will summarize the recommendation regarding the salary and fringe benefits under the proposed contract for educational administrator. The district is extending the end date of the employment agreement with Robert Harris as acting assistant superintendent, vice president of academic affairs from December 8, 2022 to March 31, 2023, or until that position is filled on a regular basis, whichever occurs first. Beginning July 1, 2022 through end of temporary assignment, the acting ASVP will receive a monthly salary at range 3, step C on the vice president salary schedule, which is $12,967. Additionally, Robert Harris will receive a 10% stipend for retaining his senior dean health and safety duties, which is $1,191 per month. Salary and stipend will be prorated for any partial month of service. The acting ASVP shall be entitled to receive the same fringe benefits as the admin confidential employee group. Catherine, do we have any public comment?
No, we do not.
Okay. Well, then I would welcome a motion.
So move.
Thank you, Trustee Baldini. And a second for Trustee Iverson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Bob. Action item 10.2. It is a supplemental employee retirement program assessment.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees and Napa Valley College community. Tonight, we've invited Deborah Despain, who is the Vice President of Employee Benefits, to go over our recommendation to you all to approve the assessment and application phase for another supplemental employee retirement program, also known as SERP. And so with that, I'll pass the floor to Mrs. Despain.
Thank you so much. Is it okay if I share my screen or this works too? Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you for having me and allowing me to present this evening in regards to the SERP program that we've been looking at. If we could go to the next page. So what a SERP is, Supplemental Employee Retirement Plan. What a SERP will do is technically it addresses any declining enrollment. It assists in proactive staff planning. It also enhances retiree benefits. And certainly one of the more important things is it helps compensate long-term employees. Next page, please.
And Deborah, if it's helpful too, you just recall that the board and the district went through the SERPA process too. So I appreciate all the good background stuff, but any areas where you might feel like it'd be okay to summarize, where I think the board would be okay with that.
Okay, yeah, that works. And can I go ahead and do the page up at the top? Is that where we can do that? Okay, so purpose. So we already know the purpose. Let's go to the next page, please. Again, win-win for both the college and for the employees to be able to offer this for those who are looking to retire. If you go to the next page, I'm going to run through this quickly. Again, benefits for the retirees. So just as a reminder, it helps them start retirement early. It is a financial bridge into retirement. They get several different payout options. We're going to look at those shortly. They can take those options and roll them into a retirement account. And they can also use some of that towards existing investments to help their investments grow. Next page. Keep going. Next page. So when we looked at the demographics, what we looked at is employees that had to be at least 50 years of age with 5 years of service. And looking at the demographics for faculty, we had 33 employees with average age of 58.5 and average service years of 16. Administration, there were 14 employees eligible with an average age of 57.6 and average service of 18.9 years, and classified 52 employees, average age of 58 and a half, and average years of service 17.1. Next page. This is, I'm not going to really spend too much time on, there's 2 more pages, so I'm just going to talk about this one. This is what we call a reverse cumulative total. So if you look down at the bottom, you see age of employee starts at age 50, and how many employees under each age, each one of those brackets. The very next line, that reverse cumulative total, where you see 33, that is where we get our numbers when we run this particular report to determine how many are actually eligible based upon the demographics. So for example, this one is faculty. There's 3 at 50, there's 4 at 56, and then if you go on, there's 1 at 68. So this is how we get those numbers to see how many are actually eligible. Go to the next page. Thank you. Administration, again, same, starting at 50, 14 are eligible, 1 at 50, and going on up. And then the next page is the classified, also starting at 50, there's 5 at age 50, and then going up with the oldest, it looks like it's about 75 plus years, and there's 52. Next page. Keep going. So this is just an example of how it works. When we're looking at those that are eligible, we always look at if you need to replace all the positions or if you can have some positions not replaced. So if you replace positions and you were looking at a retiree average salary as compared to a new hire, the statutory and healthcare, any incentives, this is a 65% incentive that we're looking at, there would be about a savings of $34,889. However, if you took that same position but did not replace it, so this person retires under the SERP, you did not replace that position, this position gives you an average savings of $94,383. This is just an example of how we look at that. Next page. Thank you. So this is the benefit options that employees get to look at. So what we've listed here is faculty average salary, $105,615 for faculty. Administration is $113,473, classified at $70,377. Looking at a 65% benefit. There are 9 options here. You've got a life only, joint plus 50% survivor. This amount assumes that the survivor is about the same age as the retiree. So if any retiree decided to put a survivor like a grandchild or something like that on, then they would take into consideration the age of the survivor, and this number could change. The majority of folks will look at options 4 through 8. These options are set, so they get this amount, this payout every months for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, etc. You can see that there's the asterisk there. What that means is that this is absolutely eligible to roll over into a full annuity. They can take it any way they want to. They can take a portion of it in cash and some roll over, and they can make changes to that decision twice per year. So most choose the 5-year because they get the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time. For faculty, that would be an average of $1,135 per month, administration $1,219, and classified at $756.31. Next page. So scenario results, when we're looking at this, we made some assumptions. Again, it's at a payout of 65% of salary. Faculty, we estimated there would be 8. If all replaced, there would be about $691,000. This is keen insert net savings. What that means is this would not include any retirees that were going to retire anyway without the plan. So if they were already going to retire, we don't put that into the savings as part of the CERP because that was there already. Administration, we assume 3. If you replace all, you would have a deficit in that of $150,511. And then classified, we assume 11. All replaced, again, a deficit of $364,000. Total would be 22 estimated participants, of course, all replaced. And you would be looking at a net savings of about $175,665. Next page. So this is what it would look like if you did not replace some of these. So faculty, again, looking at those estimated 8. If you did not replace 4, you would be looking at a net savings of about $1,980,000. Administration, if you did not replace 2 of those positions, net savings $713. Classified, not replacing 5, about $1,087,000, and then total, same 22, but not replacing 11 of those positions, $3,781,643. Next page. Thank you. Next page. So upon approval of moving forward with this CERT plan, what we look at for communications is first we look at a board resolution. The board resolution will specify the benefit offered to each group. It will outline the participation provisions in regards to what your estimated savings, how it's going to be presented, etc. And it will include the ability to revoke the offer if the participation is not met. So what that means is you offer out the plan with the understanding that you have to meet certain goals, certain financial goals. If those goals or that participation is not met, you have the ability to revoke the plan and not offer the plan going forward. We also put together a general announcement. Mostly this is the announcement letter. It's a district-wide email. It always helps if there's a superintendent's message to go with it. But the announcement letter is ready to go upon your approval today. It gives them information in regards to what the plan is, the requirements of the plan, and so forth. Next page, please. Thank you. We also do group sessions. So in this announcement letter that we would send out upon approval, there is information on group sessions. We will be holding group sessions in person and via Zoom. We will also be doing recording both of these sessions. There's 2 dates on there for group sessions. What this does is we meet with everybody who attends the meeting. We give them some education on what the offer is, what they need to do, next steps. We talk to them about what their payouts are. Just, answer any questions that they have, and then go to the next page, please. Thank you so much. We also have CalSTRS and CalPERS available. They do a presentation so that if anybody is looking to actually fully retire from the state, then they can hear what they have to report on CalSTRS and CalPERS, maybe ask any questions, etc. I want to just say here that retirees do not have to retire from the state. That is not a condition of this program, but they do have to resign and retire from the college. Next page, please. So after we do the group meetings, we also set up a few different dates where each eligible participant can have a one-on-one question and answer session with our CERT counselors. Our CERT counselors are retired school personnel, so they know the CalSTRS and the CalPERS very well. That with these are typically on Zoom or by telephone. It's about 30 minutes. The employees can bring whoever they want to that meeting. It could be a spouse, it could be their children, it could be a financial advisor, but this is where they would talk about the CERP, how it would impact them, any particular questions that they might have. And then just actually talking to retired school personnel really helps as well. And this gives them that one-on-one where they may not want to ask questions in the group session, but they get the opportunity to talk individually with the counselor. Next page. So we also provide a website for HR to be able to track online what's going on, what we're doing in regards to appointments. It gives them the ability to confirm and send out reminder emails. There's a dashboard where they can track the participation. Next page, please. So one more time. We work very closely with HR to make sure that all of their questions are answered. If they get any questions from employees that we need to assist with, then we can do that. This gives them the ability to monitor what you're, looking at in regards to replacing or any hiring actions. They understand what the assumptions are, and then they communicate any hiring restrictions, and we assist with that where we need to. Next page. Just quick, Keenan. We're the plan design consultant. We work on this plan through Mutual of Omaha. Once the plan is set and the contracts are signed, all payments come out to the annuities and to the retirees through Mutual of Omaha. Everything works for them, and we just are the ones who assist with putting the plan together with Mutual of Omaha and with the college. And next page. Next page. Question. I went through that really quick.
And I picked up on it. I was definitely following everything. Just for the record on that, I was just nice to skim over the initial general background. So I appreciate how you did that very much. And appreciate the thorough background as well. Before we take any questions from board members, I want to provide an opportunity for public comment. Catherine, do we have any members of the public?
No, we have no comment.
Okay. Any in our crowd this evening? Seeing none, we will close public comment and move on to any questions from our trustees. Yeah, everyone's shaking their head, Deborah. We've done this before. And so, Dr. Powell, Ms. Alburn, we're looking for a motion tonight to give you direction in terms of engaging with Keenan on moving forward, at least in this initial step with the CERP?
That is correct. We're looking for an approval to provide us direction to open up the assessment and application phase for the CERP. That is correct.
Okay, well, I would welcome a motion to that effect.
Baldini, so move.
Thank you, Trustee Baldwin.
Second.
And thank you, Trustee Rios, for your second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And we will adopt the motion unanimously. Thank you very much, Deborah, for a great presentation.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
We will jump to information item 13.1, an overview of General Fund 11.
And that's Mr. Reeves.
Thank you, Trustee Dodd. If I can call your attention to the schedule on the screen. I will not spend much time orienting you to this because I think we've done that in the past. I will offer that we've added a little more information after Trustee Baker's keen observation at the last meeting about adding a percentage here, which I think you'll find is very helpful. So if you look at the far right column, just above the far right column, you'll see a 4/12 equals 33%. So what that's saying is we're about a third of the way through the fiscal period. And so when you look at the numbers down that right column, it tells you what the percentage is compared to the budget you adopted. So on the revenue side, the upper portion of the schedule, You'll notice that our revenue in the current year is a percentage of what you adopted. We're still at very low percentages. And that is primarily because we have not received our property tax revenues quite yet. They'll arrive in December. However, in November, this is through October, the schedule, we did receive a sizable apportionment payment from the state. So while this looks pretty thin here in terms of a budget, our cash flow is really quite good right now. So if you scan down that right column, so anything around 33% says we're generally on track with what we thought we would be doing relative to the budget you adopted. So the variances are generally there in salaries. You'll see the total salaries were 29% expended after 1/3 of the budget timeline. Under benefits, we're at about 30% expended after 1/3 of the budget. And under total books and supplies, we're at about 17% expended. Salaries and benefits are fairly regimented once you start the year. So those are very predictable. Many of the expenses below salaries and benefits are not as regimented in terms of how we pay them. So it often gives rise to some other variances. So moving down to the next section, which starts with line 34, you'll see that the variances are fairly consistent. We had a 45% variance in our insurance and utilities, likely because we paid a big insurance premium in August, I think. So that's giving rise certainly to a variance compared to our budget at this point in the year. In addition, we had a variance in legal, election, and audit. We did not have an election expenditure in this year's budget. But we have sustained some legal and obviously our audit expenses there. Nothing to be alarmed at from my perspective, but certainly that's something we want to keep an eye on moving forward. The big variance, if you'll notice down below, is under capital outlay. And I would ask that you always pay attention to the big variances. Obviously, it says 106%. So what it's saying is that we spent 106% of the budget you adopted, or 6% of the total budget you adopted. What I'll share with you is there are some expenses that need to be reclassified out of here, and some into Fund 12 and some into some other areas. So I don't have any particular concerns about that at this point, but certainly we'll want to keep an eye on that. So at the end of the day, if you look under total expenditures, line 48, I don't know if we can see line 48 there, but it's the blue shaded. Thank you, Catherine. Our total expenditures are tracking about 30% of the budget you adopted after 1/3 of the year. So we're trending in pretty good shape right now in total. And just as a reference point, if you want to test your reading glasses, look over one column to the left. It gives you a sense of where we were compared to this time last year. So at that, I would thank Trustee Baker for her insight there. I think that might be a useful component of our report. So at that, I would open it up to any questions.
Trustee Baker?
I have a question, but just want to say thank you. And this is fabulous. And now I have something to aspire to in my own reports.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No. Or accolades? No. Thank you, Mr. Reeves.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. We will move to item 13.2, MCOR Services Mesa Energy Systems Code.
Thank you, Trustee Don. On the agenda is a quote to replace some control systems in what we call our chiller plant. Our chiller plant is the central plant on campus that operates our HVAC system, the heating and cooling across the campus. Many the valve components and the controllers have reached their useful life. And so it's imperative, quite frankly. And I think if you poll anyone in the room here, you'll find some concerns related to either how cold their areas are or how warm occasionally they are. So we are pushing this forward. I will share with you that this funding is coming from the block grant from the state. You may recognize it as the Scheduled Maintenance and Instructional Supply Block Grant. This funding is coming from this year's block grant. I'll spend a little more time on these two block grants a little later in my report, but our request is for approval for this expenditure to replace these controls to provide more, to begin to address some of the issues related to our environmental management system.
Baldini, move approval.
Second.
Thank you. Trustee Baldini with the motion and Trustee Baker with the second. Excuse me, I was looking at you, Trustee Goff, with the second. Before we move to a vote, Catherine, do we have any public comment?
No, we do not.
Thank you. We'll close public comment on this action item and any discussion.
I just have one question.
Thank you, Trustee Rios.
Is the full amount covered by the block grant?
The full amount of this expenditure is covered by the block grant.
Thank you.
I guess and one question to Mr. Reeves. I was just looking at the quote. We're going through different options and scenarios that the contractor was proposing. Maybe can you provide any sort of background on the quote, though, not to get too micro into it? And I don't know if that's you're familiar, I guess, with that level of detail, but any insights there?
My insights come from our experience with our facility staff and the challenges they encounter with being able to respond to requests for environmental controls. MCOR is a company that apparently is uniquely familiar with the idiosyncrasies of this particular plant, this particular property. And so we've asked them to go through this and make a recommendation about beginning steps to improve this. And this is the first step, frankly. You'll see another investment in controls in next year in the block grant we received this year as well, to continue that process. So I couldn't give you in very granular details about what all of this means, but we've certainly vetted it with our staff and with MCOR to be sure that we're making strides in the right direction in terms of our central plant and how we can best serve faculty, students, and staff in their work environments.
Good to have that expert opinion. Well, then I will call for a vote. Excuse me.
I have a question, Mr. Reeves, since my name is on the brass plaque on the side of that chiller plant. Is a bond project on this? Do we not build in a fund or contingency in the price on these items? You're looking at their expected life and pulling it out of a particular fund, or I'm very happy about the grant, but is that
that's a terrific question. When you look at the total cost of ownership of a project like a building, including a chiller plant, one should understand what it will cost, what the reasonable life of the component parts of it are, and plan for replacement at the point at which those component parts fail or you anticipate they'll fail. We have not been very good at that, and I'll share with you that many institutions don't do that as well as they should, so that the funds are available at the point at which you need to replace or retrofit those kinds of projects. The other way to do it, in my experience, is you have a donor provider put into an endowment, a maintenance a fund that, particularly if their name's on a plaque in the building, they can donate to that project, and it will help to address some of those costs.
So good.
It's
speechless.
We'll establish it. Just put my name on it too.
Thank you very much, Mr. Reeves, and thank you very much, Trustee Baldini, for your generous donation.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Adopted unanimously. Moving to 14.1, a second reading of Board Policy Manual Chapter 2 for the Board of Trustees. I think the best way to do this, I know we have AP 2340 that was subject to discussion last meeting. Are there any other policies outside of AP 2340 that require discussion? Seeing everyone shaking their heads. Okay, so we will just address AP 2340, and ad hoc committee very generously donated their time to reach consensus on that. So I don't know if one of those members would quickly jump in.
Well, we discussed it and kind of went back to the original intent of went back to the kind of an original intent of how it was written this way in the first place. And I think fortunately or unfortunately, we were all here then. And I think that the consensus among our ad hoc committee was that the current policy as it reads works, but we would benefit from being a little bit more diligent in our adherence to it, if that makes sense. So that there's no need to change it, but that we just need to perhaps be a little more tight about how we actually follow it.
And then just for clarity's sake, and this is for Ms. Kittle's benefit, the section that we're talking, it's not the entire, all the changes are removing, going back to the original, it's just that one clause of AP 2340, which I don't have. I'm trying to pull up in front of me, so I do now. Thank you. So just in terms of that second paragraph, or what is now, I guess, the first paragraph. So we are going to maintain the language as, excuse me. Catherine, could you help me out here? I'm trying to find. What I'm trying to do here is just be clear in terms of the revisions to AP 2340.
So
we had talked about a board member. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you look on your screen next to Trustee Iverson, so they're talking about AP 2340, and it sounds to me like you'd like to keep those first two numbers 1 and 2 as written, no changes.
That's correct.
Okay, and then further down, wait. What do you want to do with those?
Maintain those, because I think we were focused.
Changes.
Yeah. So what I am hearing is that we are going to revert the struck and added language back to its original form in those first two paragraphs and maintain the remainder of the changes as presented.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Does trustee emeritus such as Trustee Emeritus Ketron follow any different? Is he a member of the public or is he a trustee?
That's a very interesting legal question, Trustee Baldini. Let's wait for that until when it presents itself. And
That's a good way to handle it.
yeah, I would welcome a motion to approve the second reading. Excuse me, before I jump there, I'd love to take public comment. Catherine, do we have any public comment?
No, I see no public comment.
Thank you. Well, I would welcome a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Trustee Baker.
Second.
And thank you, Trustee Rios. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Adopted unanimously. Thank you, everybody. And thank you to our ad hoc committee for taking the time to get it right, which I think it is. We will go to our guideline reports. Item 15, the board welcomes reports from our campus groups. Reports may be made verbally or submitted in writing. If a report is expected to last over 3 minutes, please notify the president's office so we can separately agendize the item. Any documents presented must be sent in ahead of the meeting and will become part of the public record according to the Brown Act. We will go to report 15.2 from ASNVC President Priya Sharma.
I don't see Priya here. However, oops, let me get this off the screen. She did submit her report for your reading.
Okay. Thank you, Depriya.
We have failed to add it. We do have Danielle here with us. I'll get that added.
Go ahead and
so you can
circulate after. I was like, I
Sorry.
didn't see it. We'll move to 15.3, our classified Senate report. Miss Alexander. Is she,
Yep, here I am. I'm on Zoom. Good evening. I just wanted to offer a quick report. We wanted to share with you that we had a really fun Halloween event on October 27th. The classified Senate was able to be included with the ASNVC event called the Halloween Spooktacular. And there was a pumpkin carving contest and some Halloween contests contests. So we wanted to give sort of praise and thanks to the ASNVC for letting us be a part of their event, and also the students who worked on it and our classified senators who worked on it. I think it was really fun, and everybody's feedback is that it was a good beginning, and we're just going to keep trying to build on that and increase participation next year. And we also just would like to extend our gratitude and appreciation to Dr. Powell, who is really, really just a great advocate for the classified staff, but also for all of the constituency groups on campus. And we're just very grateful for our open communication with him and our ability to talk things out, problem solve, work together towards solutions. So it felt important to just say thank you to him. And this concludes my report.
thank you, Miss Alexander. No insights into your costume though.
Oh, I was a deer. The animal, like the animal.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Classified Association report, Miss Dixie Larson.
I don't believe she's present.
Okay. Admin Confidential Senate report, Bob Vanderbilt.
Thank you, President Dodd, members of the board. You'll notice that I'm wearing my NVC hoodie today, and I want to thank you for the adoption of the MCOR contract for HVAC controls, because that hoodie is because many of our buildings are very cold right now, but also because today is Spirit Friday, even though it's Thursday, because we have our holiday. So we had a very nice event. I shocked Charo by showing up, and apparently the first time she's ever seen me in a hoodie. I also want to note that if you have not yet purchased your tickets to the Beauty and the Beast performance this weekend, you're out of luck. They're fully sold out shows for tonight, happening at 7 o'clock on Saturday and then Sunday afternoon. We welcome 450 middle schoolers this morning to the performance there, and corralling middle schoolers it is quite a challenge. And yes. Trustee Goff, I know you are well aware of that. There is a rhythm to the academic year, building to the crescendo of commencement, which happens to be my favorite day of the academic year, where we get to see the joy of our students and the pride their family members have in their accomplishments as a reminder of what we do and why we do it. Higher education has a different rhythm than other sectors. Unlike retail, for example, that builds toward Black Friday as the day when they determine whether they have a profit or not, or the wine industry seasonality that ranges from bud break to Verizon to harvest, or the CPA's tax season, or the insurance brokers' open enrollment periods. We measure time in semesters, although that rhythm has been broken by events such as COVID or our cyber attack. Although I have little to report at the moment, there is much that is being done. At this point in the semester, classes are building to final exams, while registration for next semester is well underway and being carefully monitored. Our tech tools are slowly coming back, and the effort to build back better continues. Plans made last year are being implemented, and consideration of future plans for next year continues. Our committees and task forces are hard at work, and your administrative team is working at reviewing various proposed administrative procedures. New and updated curriculum is being developed. It is a very busy season. And again, thank you for the opportunity to provide this brief report.
Thank you. Academic Senate report, Dr. Tejada.
Good evening, President Powell, Napa Valley College community and board members. The Academic Senate continues to do its work to preserve academic freedom at Napa Valley College by remaining current in issues, policies, and procedures that affect us at the local and state level. Dr. Jim McGowan and I attended the State Academic Senate Fall Plenary Session, where the efforts of our local Senate were shown to align with the trends in the state and nationally. Our work on professional learning through the creation of the Academic Senate Center for Equity and Excellence in Teaching and Learning, or ASCETL, was not just affirmed, but also demonstrated our trailblazing in innovation and effective practices in the state. Indeed, it was recognized in the by the accreditation team when they came and interviewed us. And there is going to be some follow-up at the state level. There's interest in learning more about our work as we shift through to the professional learning paradigm. The Academic Senate Professional Learning Committee, as an ad hoc, is working collaboratively with the Office of Academic Affairs, Dr. Powell, and the other constituent presidents to prepare for our IEPI Partnership Resource Team PRT visit on November 30th. We're excited to meet with the team and share the work we are doing in the creation of the Academic Center for Equity and Excellence in Teaching and Learning. I'm going to close my report by wishing to recognize the efforts of faculty in the creation of the Accreditation Institutional Self-Evaluation Report. Under the direction of the faculty co-chair of the Accreditation Steering Committee and the Academic Senate, the faculty on the writing teams worked over 53 hours each, or the equivalent of one class without compensation. I want to thank them for their service and demonstrated expertise in completing the ICER. This concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Tejada. And thank you to the accreditation team, of course, as well. Faculty Association report, Ms. Iwamoto.
Good evening, board. Good evening, Dr. Powell, and good evening, everyone in attendance. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person tonight, but I am hoping to be back next month and be in the room with you all. I wanted to start out today by noting that Danielle had thanked Dr. Powell for just being a great advocate for classified staff. I just wanted to echo and sort of piggyback on that. In the months that Dr. Powell has been here, he has also been a great advocate for faculty. He is very transparent. I very much enjoy working with him, and I'm feeling very optimistic about the future. So that's making me really happy. But of course, I don't always get to come with good news. And so I did want to give you a little bit of background and then tell you about the statement that I'm about to read. Trustee Baker's laughing at me. So so here's the background. As you know, last year we had faculty chairs. These were faculty positions that had reassigned time. And the faculty chairs were part of a group called the Academic Affairs Council. And then the faculty chairs positions were discontinued for budgetary reasons. And so the Academic Affairs Council was disbanded, and those faculty chairs, those positions ceased to exist. We've now come to the present where we are trying to restart an Academic Affairs Council, but the district has restarted the Academic Affairs Council and asked faculty program coordinators, which are not what faculty chairs were, they're a different position, program coordinators, to be on this Academic Affairs Committee, but they're just asking them to volunteer for this committee. So I did a survey. I always do a survey, want to find out where faculty feel on this. And in the survey, we did have a majority of faculty who wanted me to make a statement. And so this is the statement that we decided upon today at the union meeting, and I will read it now. The Napa Valley College Faculty Association highly advises that program coordinators no longer attend Academic Affairs Council until NVCCD agrees to fairly compensate them to do so. Since the beginning of the pandemic, inflation has reduced purchasing power by 15% and healthcare costs have risen. While our salary increase has helped to offset some of that, it would have been more effective if we were not already among the lowest paid faculty in the California community college system, as well as the lowest compensated overall due to lack of paid family health benefits. While these meetings are not mandatory, we appreciate the invitation for input by our VPAA. Our faculty cannot help but feel a sense of duty to their programs and to their students, and it's difficult for them to not take on just one more thing because they love this college. However, this repeatedly takes advantage of faculty goodwill, and it sets a dangerous precedent. It is important that our faculty do not feel pressured to work beyond the contract, and program coordinators, the majority of whom have seen a cut in reassigned time this year, should be able to set healthy boundaries on their time, particularly since faculty chairs were compensated to attend the very same meeting just last year. It is okay to say no because allowing the district to add duties and meetings without fair compensation sends the message that we will participate in unwaged labor. And that is my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Iwamoto. We will move to President and Cabinet reports. Dr. Powell.
Thank you. Start with Bob.
Good evening, board. Good evening, colleagues. I posted my report earlier, but I'd like to expound on a couple things. Guided pathways, we are proceeding, moving forward, and today was the first official too many P's, Bob. It is a pizza party for one of our groups. So that occurred, and it's Dr. Warnall and I have been meeting. We had a nice meeting with Dr. Powell today, and as we have faculty, we have folks buying in, and so we are moving forward. We'll be presenting some information at the high school breakfast next week, so with counselors. So we're looking forward to that and gaining steam and some momentum. And a week or two ago, the time flies. We had a strategic enrollment management workshop for 2 days, and there was some aha moments in that, and how guided pathways and SEM work together. And we have some great things coming forward. So it's take some time, but we will get there. Dr. Tejada mentioned and discussed the IEP grant, or the IEP process, and we are indeed looking forward to a site visit on October 11/30 or November 30th. At the bottom of the note, it does note that we are extending through the academic year. I just did an application to extend the term of the grant for a year. Dr. Tejada and I discussed it, and given some situations of cyber attack and the like, we're not asking for more money. We're just asking for a little more time to spend that money. So I anticipate that'll come through. I had the opportunity to attend the CIO Chief Instructional Office conference in San Diego a couple weeks ago. And it was a very, very wonderful networking opportunity. Met some old friends, saw some old friends, but also had a bit of an eye-opening moment. Is that of all the colleges in the community college system, there's quite a few temporary acting and interim vice presidents. While I thought I had been on a bit of an island, and we've had some challenges here, we all know that. I'm very pleased that I'm here at Napa Valley College and not some other districts, because while we've had our challenges, yikes, some other folks have some real challenges. So, but it was a bit alarming to see and hear the number of acting in interim positions that are in the vice president's roles, and there's probably a variety of reasons for that. Last week, I had the opportunity to attend the Napa County Office of Education Educational Administrators Breakfast of Dr. Barbara Nemko and folks from around the county, and had some great opportunities to dialogue and network with high school principals and the like. First time I've been able to do that. The first partner of California was a keynote speaker, Jennifer Siebel Newsom. It was a good opportunity, great opportunity to meet and talk and have thoughts. And my primary, really good discussion with the principal at New Tech High School. They're doing wonderful things there, and one of our CTE part-time faculty, Greg Moralia, has been embedded at New Tech for a while and working with New Tech, and great things are happening there with dual enrollment. Like, last Friday, I mentioned the last meeting, that we had a seminar, for simulation that was sponsored by a company called CAE, where we purchased our simulators. Our faculty and staff in our health occupations area served as experts and provided best practices. We had approximately 60 outside people came and visited, and it was a whole day affair. And they were able to, folks, it's not our folks, there's 60 outside folks that came in. They had an opportunity to taste some of our Napa Valley wine at lunch, and then had a mixer with more Napa Valley wine after the event. So the one VWT program was well represented. And lastly, it's I think the formal invitation is going out if you haven't received it already. But on Tuesday, December 13th at 3 p.m. will be the ADN or nursing program painting. So you're all invited, obviously, and there'll be a formal invitation coming. But that's always a highlight to honor those healthcare professionals as they come to the conclusion along. And for some challenging event, but to get to the end, it's wonderful. So that's December 13th. So look forward to see you there, and the formal invitation. If you haven't received it, we'll make sure you get it very soon. Thank you.
So in some of the conversations, like with the high schools and the Napa County Office of Education, because I know that we're trying to build our relationships with them, but I kind of a question: how many people in this room have had some involvement at some point in our lives with the community college outside of our respective roles? So I was just thinking earlier, because it was a comment from a fellow community member about highlighting some of the people that have been through the community college, and that there's attorneys, college presidents, successful business owners. I mean, and I'm sure Holly somewhere on that lines, like a billboard postering someone, but just to get that message out there.
Yeah, Trustee Iverson, you're actually tipping the cards a bit to an initiative that we'll be spearheading moving into the spring semester, which is alum highlights, not just for Napa Valley College, but community college alum within the region. Part of our marketing campaign moving forward. So more to come on that.
On it. That was a very quick response to a trustee concern.
Well, I'm really excited about this one. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm next. Good evening, Board of Trustees and community. Also just want to acknowledge Trustee Goff and Trustee Baldini for your years of service, and thank you both for what you've done. I remember Trustee Baldini, the trip we took to San Francisco Mission District with the Puente students. We did bring the student back. We found that student who walked away, and we were able to bring her back. And she decided to go, I think, shopping at the last minute. And we had to go on a scavenger hunt, and we found her though. So very, very excited about that. So, but thank you again for all your years of service and for what you've done for our community. And we look forward to continuing to work with you and to build with you into the future. My report this evening is a bit short. I'm going to highlight a couple of points. I did submit a written report. A couple of highlights I'd like to make around what Student Affairs has been doing this last month or so is really highlight the work of the Transfer Center. This past month, on October 30th, we held our Historically Black Colleges and Universities Caravan activity here on campus, or HBCU caravan, where we had 11 colleges and universities come to campus and participate in our HBCU transfer program. So we had a lot of students join us. We had students from the community join us, from our local high schools join us as well. Actually, specifically, we had Vintage High and Justin Sienna students come to campus and attend and participate in this activity. On-the-spot admissions was offered to 2 of our NVC students, so this is exciting. They literally were given on-the-spot admissions to a school, so what a great opportunity for them. We had programs like Umoja, our NVC Foundation, Career Center, Mrs. STEM, SSS Trio, our athletics department and our basic needs center, the tables, we're able to provide information for the community. So an opportunity for us to really connect and build with our HBCUs, but also promote the programs we have here at NVC. So a very well attended event. I think there's pictures. I put it onto my report, so you can see some of the activities that occurred throughout. Another highlight I'd like to provide is the EOPS Clerical Works team actually participated in the 53rd annual California Community Colleges EOPS Association Conference, October 23rd to 25th. So, this is a conference I've been to, a conference many years, but an opportunity to really highlight the work that EOPS Clerical Works is doing statewide. But for us, specifically for Napa Valley College, I want to lift up the work of Senior Dean Kelly Morgan, who was honored for 35 years of service for EOPS. So, yes, great work. And I got to work with her for many years, has done amazing things for Napa Valley College and continues to do that. So that was held in Palm Springs with workshops, and speakers, scholarship ceremony for our students. So very powerful activity that occurred. My final update is around our high school visits. We completed our 9th high school visit, so 9 schools up and down the community of the Valley, around specifically making connections to our high school counselors, our administrators, to let them know about Napa Valley College. We are intentionally, specifically targeting schools that perhaps in the past haven't been at the center of our outreach efforts. So up Valley, our schools in Santa Elena and Calistoga, and our other schools like Camille Creek that in the past have been on the side or not necessarily in the crosshairs of our outreach efforts. We really made sure to target them and specifically make connections. So that's been a great opportunity. Lots more to come on that. We are actively working on creating what we call high school trips for the spring, where we're going to invite our schools to come to campus, our partners, and experience NVC for a day. So, and in that day, hopefully we literally walk away with a application filled out or financial aid filled out or something, so students are connected with LinkedIn right away. So that's exciting work on that. So other than that, my invitation to all of you for November 17th, next Thursday, 7:45 is our high school breakfast. Be some really good burritos and some chilaquiles and some other food there. So I welcome to come. Again, our partners from our local community, our high school partners, will be there and our other agencies. So hope to see you there. That finishes my report. Thank you.
Good evening again, members of the board. I too posted my report on board docs, and I'd like to just touch on a few high points. Catherine, would you mind opening that? Because as I conclude, I want to look at 2 tables at the end of that report. I would begin by just an update on the audit report. The financial piece is moving along very nicely. There will be a meeting of the Budget and Audit Committee prior to the December meeting to look at the audit as well as other matters that may be on that agenda, but primarily the audit prior to the December meeting. Just a note here, our financials look very, very good in terms of the audit. We are having a challenge pulling out data related to the Chancellor's Office request to audit our graduation, our certificates and diplomas, because some of the data is stuck in a system that's antiquated, and we are doing our best to pull it out, but we haven't had much success yet. All that to say that the auditor's concerned if we can't pull that out, it may result in a closer look at that particular piece of data. So I'll keep you updated on that. We're working literally day and night to try to figure out how to retrieve this data. The second point I'd like just to call your attention to is some of our institutional technology efforts. We are putting together a list of all of the technology investments that we're about to make in significant numbers. They're numbers you may not recognize because much of it is funded from Fund 12 or restricted portions, so something in the area of $3 million. And so we will be able to fund it, I'm fairly certain, as I look at all the categorical opportunities as well as what we have available in Fund 11. Some specific points I wanted to point out to you that we're implementing a two-step authentication system to improve our security. We're moving forward with the initial purchase of many desktop and laptop computers that are no longer supported and become a security risk. And we're looking to a go live date for our enterprise system to go to the cloud. Going to the cloud takes us off local servers, puts us into a far more secure environment. And we're looking at a go live for that entire system, our enterprise system, on July 1st. A quick update on student housing. You may know they're moving along quite nicely. We are finishing we just accepted today today was the deadline for our RFQ request for qualifications for construction manager and project manager roles. So at our next meeting, I anticipate being able to present for your consideration a list of qualified candidates for those two particular roles at the college. In facilities, I wanted to, you probably have heard this, we had to close the pool about a month before we initially anticipated. And working with the county, the county believed that we needed to do some repairs on the pool prior to continuing operations. So we did need to close it. We did notify those users at the point where we knew we had to close it. And obviously, when you have plans to use that facility, it's not always an easy conversation. So we did indicate that we do plan on reopening the pool on schedule as the new semester begins in early February. We will be draining the pool to do some of that maintenance about December the 3rd, it seems to me, and addressing those immediate concerns related to the swimming pool. If I can call your attention to the tables at the back, I referenced earlier the scheduled maintenance block grants. We had one this year to the tune of about $1.7 million. Some of you have seen this before. I just wanted to give you a quick update on where we are with those projects. We had a roofing replacement in Upper Valley campus that was completed in the spring. Number 2 was the replace of the HVAC system in building 1800. That is still underway. We had some challenges with receiving the equipment to complete that work, supply chain issues, but that is well underway. Number 3 is the swimming pool expansion joints. There is one piece of the swimming pool improvements here. As I'll point out, we had much more money next year on the scheduled maintenance to address that. We had some asbestos abatement. And we have a roof replacement that you authorized at last month's budget underway. These are allocations from this year, about $1.7 million. For the current year, that was an allocation for last year, 21-22. This year, we received a total allocation of about just over $6 million. These resources are intended for 2 purposes, these block grants, scheduled maintenance and instructional equipment. And the institution makes a determination about how much they want to spend in each direction. We have earmarked, we have certified with the Chancellor's Office that facilities scheduled maintenance is looking at around just around $5 million to devote to scheduled maintenance. And we've earmarked about $1 million for instructional equipment. The certification for instructional equipment, or how they will use those funds, is due in December. I think Bob Harris is currently working on that. I did want to point out what the Facilities Committee is recommending for how we use these funds. We did register with the Chancellor's Office. However, if something shifts, we can go back and make some adjustments to these. We're looking at number 1 is a roof replacement as part of our roofing replacement program. We have a couple of elevators that are no longer as operational as they should be. Some stories of people occasionally getting caught in elevators. And number 3 is a child care building, a roof replacement. Number 4 is some electrical improvements. Number 5 is $1 million to address deferred maintenance in the swimming pool. And that includes a replaster of the entire facility, replacement of some tiles, and to put the swimming pool back in a position where it is a little easier to maintain. It is not a redesign of the facility. It's simply to bring the pool back up to meet its original design specifications. So that's a worthy investment. I think there are maybe those on campus who think that that dollar should go somewhere else. However, the alternatives are not as promising to do anything else with that pool other than to maintain it in the condition that it was designed to accomplish. Number 7, we replaced HVAC in building 1200. Number 8, breakers, again, some electrical replacements. Number 9, another elevator. Number 10 is the next investment in environmental management systems or HVAC controls. Number 11 is more HVAC investment. And number 12 is actually some more HVAC investments. So you can see we are fixing elevators, repairing roofs, and as well as fixing the pool, we are addressing HVAC concerns in here. There's a caution. This is a very generous block grant amount from the state. We will not see this again in the near future. So we have to be judicious here and make sure we address the issues, our longstanding deferred maintenance issues. We have not done a deferred maintenance analysis on our campus. I was sharing with Dr. Powell, I've done these in the past, deferred maintenance analysis, and they're typically not pretty numbers. And I suspect ours is not a pretty number either. And at some point in our future, we need to look at what our deferred maintenance backlog looks like to address some of the issues that Trustee Baldini has brought up. How do we address these costs that we know we're going to need to address over time and begin to plan for that. So with that, I would conclude my report. Thank you.
One comment on it, and I don't know if you've heard it today, but good job. And I wanted to commend you on a lot of the work that you've done, and not to go back to old news, but the enhanced monitoring and the amount of time that we were able to get off of that. And I know that a lot of credit towards you and your team, the district as a whole. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you.
I'll conclude.
For that.
Is that
Michael? It's post dated to 2030.
does he want a bigger plaque? Is that what that is?
Thank you. We appreciate that.
I'll wrap up the president's office report with just a few updates, just from myself personally. I do want to extend thanks to the entire NVC community for our community open house on October 15th. Last time we were together, it was just a few days before. We were excited but anxious about what that event would look like. And I think all of us were here, and it was a very well attended event, and it was a very successful event from the perspective of us defaulting back to and really living out and operationalizing our tagline for this year, which is Rediscover Napa Valley College. So thank you to the entire campus community and to the extended Napa community for your support, and really looking forward to doing that one again next year. Couple of things I've been up to. It's been a really busy month since the last time we were here. I did have the chance to tour Santa Rosa Junior College's student housing and learn more about their program, their project. They're about a year ahead of us. And so there are a lot of lessons learned that, in speaking with my counterpart, Dr. Chong, over at SRJC and his Vice President of Student Services, I think they're going to be a really good asset and resource. They're going to remain in contact with us and have offered to hold hands with us during our process and share those lessons learned as we move forward in the next couple of years in our project. So excited about that. Dr. Guerrero and I had the chance last week to attend the Colegas Conference in Long Beach. And the conference, it was the inaugural conference for this organization, which focuses on really empowering Latinx student success. A lot of really good seminars that were there around HSI grants, around some of the initiatives statewide that are happening, our colleagues are doing. And I think just a great opportunity for us to really connect with our colleagues across the state and just re-energize ourselves around this work, which is, it can be tiring, but it's also so impactful and just so enriching. So my thanks for Dr. Guerrero and I attending. I'm really looking forward to having a whole team or a bigger team go back next year. We talked about that. An enhanced presence from NVC next year is going to be a really good thing for us at this conference. And then today was busy. Started at about 6 o'clock this morning with Trustee Iverson with a nice meeting we had, a catch up. And then we rolled that into Sunrise Rotary. It was great, a chance to meet with that group and just share a little bit about myself, about the college, our vision, areas of overlap, things that we anticipate doing with them. We also had the chance to meet the cabinet members and I with the Napa Valley Transportation Authority later this morning to discuss ways that we can enhance opportunities for our students, increase their mobility and innovate around some projects that are going to really assist our students with transportation and moving throughout the region and the area. So we're excited to continue to work on that. And the last thing is just on a personal level, really like to wish everybody a happy Veterans Day in advance. And just throw out a little shout out to two veterans who were special and important to me. My grandfather, rest in peace. He was an airman who served in the Korean War, and my uncle Michael, who also served in the first Gulf War. He's a Marine. So thank you for your service. Thank you for everyone for your service. Those of you who have served. And yes, best wishes tomorrow on your special day. So thanks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Powell. Standing committee reports, DOS and Viticulture and Winery Foundation. Trustee Baldini,
No,
anything to report
no
there?
meetings, the viticulture next Wednesday and
Thank you. Audit and Finance Committee, I don't believe we have anything to report there. Real property, same. We can forego McPherson, Shank, and accreditation and move on to College Foundation report.
College Foundation had their board retreat and lots of good things came out of that. We have some positive direction around the Wine Education Center and things are moving along. So looking forward to bringing back some really good stuff for you guys.
Great. Future agenda item requests. Comments? Being none, we're looking good there. And we will move on to trustee reports. Let's see here. Trustee Rios.
Well, I don't have a lot to report. I was here on October 15th for the big event and I enjoyed it. It was great. We've talked about doing something like that for years. Trying to get people on campus for the community to see what's here and what's offered. So I was really happy that that's finally happened. And it looked like a success to me. So I'm looking forward to that continuing. Thank you.
Trustee Baker.
I have a few things. I went to the Penning, which was as always a lot of fun. Went to the open house, that was fun. Went to see Beauty and the Beast, also fun. One of the things I just want to call everybody's attention to is where we were a year ago and how far we've come in a year. We've got a lot of new faces, a lot of, I'm not going to say old faces, but pre-existing faces that have changed jobs and we got people that are leaving us now. And I mean, we have done so much in 12 months. And I'm just so happy that we had the crew that we had to get through it, the crew that we have now. And I know we're still building that. And want to take opportunity to say goodbye to a few people. Before I get to my fellow trustees, I don't know if it's been announced, but Miss Holly Dawson is leaving. This is her last meeting. And so we were friends before, we'll be friends after, but you have just made such a huge difference here. And just want to say thank you. I know you won't get a plaque on the website, but we know that that was you, and we are looking forward to seeing it in the next couple of weeks. So, Beth, gosh, we've had a lot of fun, and I hope we still will. I know you're not on Facebook, and I'm too old to pick up any new social media, so we'll have to find something else to figure that out. And Michael, I honestly can't think, except for my relationship with my husband, I haven't done anything for 20 years. So, wow, and it's been. It makes me really sad, honestly. I mean, I this is going to get weird real quick, but I had a dream once. I don't remember exactly what happened in the dream, but it was kind of a Wizard of Oz theme, and I was Dorothy, and Kyle, I think it's because of your hair, you were the lion. Jeff, you were the Tin Man. I don't remember everybody else, but Mr. Scarecrow, I will definitely miss you most of all. So, and I would like to invite both of you to, at my expense, to join us at the Nutcracker at NVC in December. And we happily buy you both 2 tickets for you. And it's the 17th, 18th, and 19th of December.
Good idea.
And both of my kiddos are going to be in it. And so would love to have you both there. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Trustee Baker. Trustee Iverson.
Just echo my fellow Trustee Baker and Trustee Rios, the event we did on the college campus, that was a good turnout. And I think that nowhere to go but up from there. And Trustee Baldini, I mean, I've been with you for 8 years and appreciate everything you've done, and gonna miss you. And I know that we may not be seeing you here, but I don't think you're gonna go that far. Oh, I think you're always gonna be a part of this. And I will miss you too as well, Trustee. Not quite as long as a stint with Trustee Baldini, but it's been a pleasure to work with both of you. And I think what you've done for American Canyon and the college relations has been huge, and big shoes to fill for your new trustees coming into the seat. So thank you for your guys' service.
I'll go next. So it's a good comment, Trustee Baker, on terms of reflecting on where we were a year ago. It's nice to reflect, and it's really very thankful for the team that we have in place. And I'm looking at these people here at this meeting because it's you guys, and so I don't want to let it go unrecognized how much we all appreciate it, and we do talk about that amongst ourselves. How what a wonderful team that we have. So if we don't say it enough, please know that we think of it and we talk about it amongst ourselves often, and it's nice to actually really reflect on November of 2021. Where we are now. I did also go to Beauty and the Beast on Saturday. Escorted my 4 nieces and 2 little boys. One was probably a little too young to attend, so I had to sneak out a little bit at intermission. But I caught the end of it, and did want to make some comments on Trustee Goff and Trustee Baldini. Trustee Goff, first of all, we came in at the exact same time. and I don't know, I think maybe coming onto the board, I felt maybe we were going to be on opposite sides of like everything. I don't know. It was and lo and behold, we're on the same page on everything. And really it has been from day one. And your leadership skills, I'm just taking on it as just from day one. I'm just so impressed with your skills as a communicator and a leader, and as an educational leader in particular. And it's kind of wherever she says, it's kind of I'll follow. Like I really do admire you, Trustee Goff, and I'm so I'm sad that you're not going to be with us for the next 4 years, but I know you're not going anywhere. And that doesn't, you don't need to, I know you're going to be here, and you're always going to be a call away. And anytime the college or one of your colleagues needs something. So, thank you for all that you've done. Trustee Baldini, who I've known for many, many years. I think I met when I was volunteering, maybe it was 2011, 2009 for a college, for the college bond, with the one that didn't pass the second one. And somewhere around that date. And it was cool just to see your presence when you came into the room. And so I remember we doing a big phone bank, and Trustee Baldini was there riling up people and really spending a lot of time doing that. So I really admired you from day one. And since joining the board, just to see, I think you have a certain grace about you. And the words that you say, you don't talk as much as I do, but it's everything that you say is incredibly important and meaningful. And there's not a lot of empty words. And so I really appreciate that. And I really appreciate, I think, your mentorship just for me and other board members over a number of years as you've faced a lot of the same challenges in different ways, but a lot of the same challenges in general that, we faced over the past year. So it's really nice to always get your perspective, and you're always willing to take the time to make a conversation work. And so, thank you for that. And best dress. A lot needs to go unsaid. Trustee Goff.
Well, Jen, you were absolutely right. When we walked in 4 years ago, when Jeff and I came 4 years ago, it was quite a different place. It was a very different place. And I remember thinking, God, I hope I make it through this meeting without throwing up in my shoes, because I didn't know what I was doing here. But it's such a great team. You guys are really, really wonderful. And, I'm back there going, I don't know when you sleep, number one. It just amazes me. But it's amazing how quickly it goes by, right? I'm going to try and talk and have this whole thing. I know exactly what I want to say if I can just get it out. I just want to, I'm going to miss this, right? Not a lot of the other stuff, but this on this. So my purpose for running was to bring American Canyon here. It's my adopted town. I love it. Just so you know, we are 7 students, I think, short of being the largest high school in the Valley. Next year, I'm sure we'll be that largest high school. We have the highest CAS scores, not only out of all the high schools, but we surpassed the state average in our CAS scores. We have a Chamber of Commerce who is poised in 2023 to focus on workforce and education. They're ready to go. We have a foundation who is working tirelessly to build an eco center that we want Napa Valley College to be a part of. There's so much opportunity for Napa Valley College down there. I just look at it and think it's going to happen sooner or later. It's going to happen. Building your campus down there, building the American Canyon campus for Napa Valley College, I believe, is key to your future success. That's where a lot of the kids are. That's where the growth is, without a doubt. And you've got such diversity down there, diversity that many communities would kill for. You've got kids who are military bound. You've got kids who are 4-year college bound, but you've got a lot of kids who want to be trained as welders and construction and viticulture. You've got kids who want to transfer into a four-year university, that spend 2 years free in community college. They're ready to go. They just need you to show up and say, here we are. Come in and see us. So I really hope that you will invest in that campus, strongly invest. Knowing guided pathways is coming just warms my heart, because 4 years ago it was, yeah, it's coming, we're working on it. It's like, it kills me. So when you meet here on December 15th, I will actually be starting a new year of my life. I will be with family and friends. I will not be here to start a new year with you. But I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you've done. Thank you. Not going to make it through. That's okay. I appreciate it. No, don't do that. Okay, Michael, it's your turn.
Yeah.
Your turn. Please let it be your turn. That's what I like to do. Absolutely. You and me both. You and me both. Yeah.
Thank you. And I thank you, Jennifer and Raphael. I know I've already exceeded your limits on my speaking. And thank you, Jeff. What a great year for you and for us with you at the helm. Thank you. Kyle, gosh, that's fantastic news. Yeah. Got to keep working. But thank you all and put me to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Baldini. I was wondering if you could do us the honor of adjourning this meeting.
Good.
Oh.
This meeting and with great thoughts and of all those that have come through this college and have benefited by the efforts of all of you, and may they wish them all continued success. And thank you very much, and thank you for letting me serve.